Hey, what's going on guys, I'm Primal Liquid, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how to get infinite materials on the Africa map. Now, much like the Afghan map, it's pretty much going to be the same. We're going to be doing teleporter runs while breaking all the wooden boxes and the iron drums. However, it's a little bit different because, you know, obviously Africa's a lot smaller than Afghan, so you know, we do have to go a little out of the way for gathering materials and breaking boxes and things. However, one thing that I should really note is the Afghan and African maps both have separate resource counters. So much like in Afghan, to force respawn all the materials, you have to first gather a specific amount of materials to effectively trick the game into thinking that, okay, this guy's low on materials, oh wait, there's no more materials on the map. So it basically tricks the game into force respawning them all. And I'm not entirely sure why trackers are here. So yeah, we'll play this a little safe. We'll just go get a gun, because I am using my gathering loadout, which is everything unequipped bar a machete. Although that is the first time I've ever had a tracker just come straight for me. So we'll just get the shotgun, I think. There it is. Okay. Now if any trackers want to play tag with us, we're going to be ready for them. But yeah, as I was saying, basically we're going to be tricking the resource counter into thinking that there's no more resources on the map and it needs to top them up ahead of the 4-hour timer. Which, believe it or not, is actually it's more straightforward and is simpler on on Africa than it is on Afghan. Simply due to the fact that because they have different resource timers, then we can actually take advantage of that, because the resource timer for Africa is actually much smaller than the one for Afghan. And what the hell is this tracker doing? Where are all these coming from? Okay, that was actually surprisingly close. I'd like to know where they all come from. Well, anyway, let's continue on gathering and then we'll move on, since this is beginning to dawdle a little now. So, I've completely lost where I was now. Okay, I'll have to semi-start again. Sorry about this, guys. Basically, we're going to be tricking the resource counter into force respawning all the materials. However, because Afghan and Africa have separate timers, we can take advantage of that. However, it does also have its negatives. For example, if you were to completely empty Africa of all the materials, and then you went to Afghan and did, say, 10 laps around there on material runs, the materials in Africa would not have respawned. So if you want the materials to respawn in Afghan, you have to do the trip in Afghan. If you want them to respawn in Africa, you also have to do the trips in Africa. However, the Africa one is much faster overall compared to Africa. The Africa one is much faster overall because it's a much smaller map, and in turn has a much smaller resource counter. So again, you know, we've done a couple of the transporters. We're also going to be doing transporter 4 and transporter 6. Once these two transporters are done, I actually like to go back to the main base camp, because we're actually going to have to go a little out of our way here. So once we do transporter 8, we'll do transporter 4, and then we'll go back to the base camp just to offload all that extra weight, because then we're going to go back to transporter 4. However, we actually have to go all the way up to this little base here. We need to empty that one out as well to help force the respawn of the items. Now, you don't have to do ruins 3, however, and you also don't have to go up here either. You can if you want, however, you don't have to. If you do decide to go to ruins 3, the only things worth getting is there's a firing unit here behind the building, and there's quite a lot of medical supplies up here on the very top of the building. If you decide to go up here, there's a firing unit in the building with the main computer where you get the motherboard from, and there's also quite a large amount of composite explosives in this small building here. Now, Once you do these 2 transporters and you've done up here as well, then we're also going to go to transporter 6. We're going to completely clear that one out, and then we're going to move on to transporter 7. Now, transporter 7 is a little bit of a pain in the arse. Once you've done transporter 6, if you want, you can go back to base camp and completely get rid of all your weight. Because with transporter 7, we're going to have to clear this building here, both rooms, and this building here, again, both rooms, while breaking everything there as well. And then we're going to completely clear out transporter 7, again, breaking everything. The problem with doing this at transporter 7 is there's a hell of a lot of steel, which means you're going to get a lot of weight very, very quickly. That's why I suggest leaving that one till last. That way, you know, at least you haven't got to walk anywhere or run anywhere with a completely full inventory. But that's pretty much it for Africa, guys. You know, it's really simple, really straightforward, and really, really quick. The benefits of doing Africa over Afghan are you actually get a lot more blue materials, such as firing units, tungsten alloy, titanium alloy, things like that. However, there is a downside as well. You're going to be getting a lot less gunpowder and a hell of a lot less copper, which means creating the elemental ammo is going to be slightly more difficult if you only run Africa, simply due to the amount of copper and that they burn. However, Africa is actually better for lead than Afghan is, simply due to how fast it is. So while each trip yields less lead than doing Afghan, because of it basically being 2 or 3 times quicker than Afghan, you actually rack up more lead than you would doing Afghan. However, you do lose out on quite a lot of copper, as I said. So again, generally my rule of thumb is if I'm after materials for ammo, then I will do Afghan. If I'm after like the blue materials like firing units, napalm, tungsten, chromium, you know, things like that, then I'll do a couple of Africa. But again, guys, you know, as I said, it's really simple, really straightforward, and extremely, extremely quick if you're doing Africa. Now, I'm going to end the commentary here, just like I did in my Afghan video, and then I'm going to continue on with the run, just so you guys can see exactly how I do it, and that way, you know, if you want to continue on and copy the same run, then you're more than welcome to. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope the video helped. If it did, then hit that like button, and as always, I'll see you later. Well, there we have it, guys. As you can see, all the materials in the first two transporters have respawned for me, and as I move along gathering those two transporters worth of materials, then the next two will start to respawn as well, eventually giving us a complete respawn of all the materials. Now, as mentioned near the start of the video, you don't actually have to go to Ruins 3 or to the little hut up here. However, if you do want to, as I mentioned, you can get firing units from around here, which are outside the building behind it on a shelf. And you can also get quite a lot of medical supplies up on the very top floor of the building as well. And again, you know, just to quickly mention, you can get a couple of firing units up in this building and a couple of composite explosives there. So, as I said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later.